What is up, everybody? I hope you are having a fantastic evening heading into the weekend. Much later behind enemy lines than normal. We usually do it on Wednesday, sometimes on Thursday, but a hurricane got in the way. Luckily, I'm blessed. Nothing major happened, just a power outage that stopped this show from happening yesterday. But you cannot stop behind enemy lines from happening at all. That's what we are here tonight to do. So, while you're here, make sure you like, subscribe, and get ready for the show. We're going to hit it next. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second, and it's behind enemy lines night, which means I've got a very, very special guest, Colby from Patriots Global. Colby, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, man. I mean, look, obviously the Patriots in week 3, things didn't exactly go as planned. You know what I'm saying? I mean, getting blown out on a short week against an in-division rival, one, of course, that the Patriots completely have dominated for 20 years. It's not exactly what you want. I think right now there's a lot of questions on, right, what the Patriots are. You provide the biggest upset in week 1 against the Bengals. You play a real close one that they really should have won against the Seahawks in week 2. You get blown out in week 3. We've seen every phase you possibly can imagine from the Patriots so far this season. So it's going to be an interesting season.
Yeah, going into the season, I think I had the Patriots at like 6 wins, but I feel like any team that can run the ball and play defense, they're at least usually going to be in the game. And that's the way it played out the first couple of weeks, right? Like you got a win that nobody expected. And then you were in a tight game. And then, of course, in the division game, which is the one you would predict to be the closest, it turned out to be a blowout. Puffing up the Jets fans' heads. Those guys are out of control this year. I'm glad we were able to humble them week 1, but it seems
Thank
like
God,
they've
too.
forgotten all about that.
You need to do it again because they are still talking and making excuses about why they didn't win that game. Before that game, I heard them all talking about, we're beating the 49ers. We're going to see them in the Super Bowl. We're going to beat them again.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe you guys should just try to get to 9 wins before you start talking about Super Bowl. Maybe try to make the playoffs and win a playoff game before you start talking about beating the best team in the league. Like, it doesn't even make sense to me.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Well, we both hate the Jets, so we have that in common. I'm sure you a little bit more. However, we are here to learn about the Patriots a little bit. So talk to me a little bit, man. Before we get into the matchup, I like to learn just what's going on with the fan base. And first and foremost, Drake May. You guys picked Drake May. Obviously, the golden years of Tom Brady and Belichick are over, and it's time to move on and go get a quarterback. Overall, what were your thoughts when Drake May was taken? Was that your choice, or was there another guy you were hoping for? Like, how do you feel about the Drake May pick when it happened, and how do you feel today?
Yeah, it was a long process. I mean, Patriots fans, we didn't think we were going to be a 4-win team last year. I mean, we thought that we were going to be better from, I think it was like 8 wins we had or 7 wins we had in 2022. We thought we were going to be better in the beginning of that 2023 season. That's exactly what it looked like. Obviously, that didn't exactly happen. You win 4 games and you have a top 3 pick. So honestly, for the majority of that season, I didn't think we were going to be in a place to get Drake May. Early on in the collegiate season, especially as it kind of was processing through 2023, there were some talks about, Caleb Williams. Is he going to be the first overall pick now, or is it going to be Drake May because of all of the off-the-field issues with Caleb Williams? So I was like, guys, I don't know if we're going to have the opportunity to, because I never thought the Patriots would hold the number 1 overall pick. I didn't think they were going to hold the number 2. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't even think we were going to be able to hold the number 3 overall pick, but we somehow were able to manage that. It still surprises me that the Patriots were able to land Drake May. He's one of those prospects that has all of the possible tools that you can ask for. Like, if you are cooking up a quarterback in the lab, Drake May is what you're coming out with, but he's very raw, right? Like, he's the type of quarterback where you're saying you have to take him top 3 because he's not going to last past that because of the potential that he has, but he's also only 21. He was I think him and JJ McCarthy were like the youngest quarterbacks in this entire class. So he has that potential, but he's very young, as we're with like a Caleb Williams or a Jaden Daniels. Like Jaden Daniels, for example, is 24. He has a high football IQ because he's seen a lot of football to where he could start immediately. So for me, when they did draft Drake May, I loved it. I originally fell in love with Jaden Daniels first because I didn't feel like there was a player at the quarterback position, or really just in general. I didn't believe that there was a player in last year's draft that improved better on a year-to-year basis than Jaden Daniels did. But I did believe that Drake May fit the Patriots system under Alex Van Pelt a lot better. I like mobile quarterbacks. I understand that that's what the league has kind of come to. You have to have a sense of mobility. Pure pocket passing quarterbacks, they don't succeed in today's NFL. We don't see those guys anymore. And obviously Drake May is a dual threat quarterback, but you have to be able to pass the ball first. That's what you have to do as a quarterback, not be like Lamar Jackson, take off and run constantly. We've seen with Lamar Jackson, right, that when he's had to close out games or when it's mattered most, his inconsistencies as a passer in this league has really bit him in the butt. So for me, I wanted the quarterback that was going to have that mobility to him, but first be able to sit in the pocket and make the throws. And that's exactly what Drake May is.
Now, talk to me about Joe Milton, because I know that he came in and had some interesting things happen in camp. And then this weird thing happened where I'm not saying it was a big segment of the fan base, but there was certainly a segment of the fan base like, oh, he's better than Drake May. What about him? What are your thoughts on Milton, and why take two quarterbacks? It's very Washington Commanders-esque back when they took RG3 and Kirk Cousins, just a little bit later rounds, obviously.
Well, I mean, to answer that second question, first off, like quarterback is the most important position in sports, right? So if you look at it and you're like, well, the Patriots, they need help at quarterback. Yes, we're taking Drake May at 3. He's the guy we're hoping to develop and hoping to take over. But like you said, RG3, Kirk Cousins, let's say it doesn't work out. We want to have an insurance policy. And if the Patriots are lucky enough to where both of those quarterbacks hit, they took Joe Milton in like the 6th round. What they could do is they can then flop Joe Milton. And even if he looks like a high-end backup quarterback in the league, the Patriots could easily get like a 3rd round pick for him just because he is a quarterback, and quarterback's value is risen significantly. But I liked going for Joe Milton. Joe Milton was a really, really cool prospect throughout the entire 2024 draft process. But he's not a guy that you ideally want taking over, right? The way that I see it is Joe Milton, he's standing platform, like zero mechanics. That guy can launch a ball 80 yards, 90 yards down the field, no problem. But if you need him to just a simple 5-yard slant, he is going to throw the same 80-yard ball to you that he would if he was all the way down the field. So a lot of fans like Joe Milton, but it's because Joe Milton's flashy. He has the mobility. He has crazy arm strength. That's why the fans want the flashy quarterback right away. But honestly, Jesse, this happens every single year.
It's very Anthony Richardson, isn't he?
Exactly. And it's like, but like, look, it was Mac Jones. And then you saw Bailey Zappi flash a little. Then everybody wanted Bailey Zappi. Even when Tom Brady was here, everybody was talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. Everybody wants the flashy surprise box that you don't know what it's going to be yet. Even Bailey Zappi, when he was here, then it was like, no, like throw Drake May out there into the fire right away. Like everybody just wants the flashy next quarterback that shows potential. But realistically, he's never going to start for the Patriots. You never want him to start. I think he's a developmental piece that can be a backup quarterback for them in 2025 when Drake May becomes quarterback 1 and Jacoby Brissett goes somewhere else. But I think best case scenario is he looks good enough to where you can flip him from a 6th round pick to like a 3rd or hopefully even better.
It's like the game show where you already have the nice trip in hand, but then there's the box. You don't know what's in it. It could be a zoink, but it might be something better like a car. But I got to see it. Give me the box. You know what I mean? So exactly. It's pretty funny, but
Family Guy.
yeah, exactly. But I do like, I like the approach the Patriots are taking with Drake May. So the way I understand is what they're doing is they're giving him like 30% of the first team reps in practice, which I think is fantastic. That's a great way to develop a quarterback. A lot of times what teams will do is they'll sit a quarterback for a full year and they expect them to learn, but really what are they learning? If anything, they're on the scout team and they're just doing what is expected of them to try to mimic the team they're playing, but that's not really honing your craft or working on your skills. I like this approach that the Patriots are taking. It's unique, but I think it's a way to develop. It's something different and outside the box. And I really at least respect the approach.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's a blueprint too, right? Follow the damn blueprint. Don't make this more
Right.
difficult than it needs to be. And the good thing too is that Gerard Mayo, who was appointed as the Patriots' new head coach, he came here as the Patriots linebacker coach in
Mm.
2019. He was here when Brady was here in his final years. He was here when Brady left. He was here when Cam Newton was here, when they drafted Mac Jones and saw how that whole thing kind of processed. So he knows what's working versus what doesn't. And look at Tom Brady. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Look at even quarterbacks today, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert sat for a period of time. Jordan Love sat for multiple years. There is a blueprint at sitting your quarterback no matter where you draft them because of the one specific thing being confidence, right? You don't want to throw a quarterback out there when they're not ready and have it shake their confidence because it's kind of like the kicker position. Confidence is just as important. That mental aspect to play quarterback and kicker is just as important as the physical side of things. And again, if you mess up that mental side, they're going to be in their head. They're going to make mistakes. And that's a big part of why Mac Jones started to fail in the last couple years, especially last year, is because that confidence was gone. He got in his head, that internal clock sped up. So don't throw him out there until he's 120% ready. And the Patriots are in a position where they're not good right now, and that's okay. They're in year one of a complete new rebuild. I'm talking a new front office, a new head coach, a new defensive coordinator, new positions on the defense, a new offensive coordinator. This is the first time he's called plays at a full-time level with Alex Van Pelt, a completely new offensive coaching staff, new quarterbacks. Everything is new. Nobody's expecting you to be good. There's no reason to throw Drake May out there into the fire.
Yeah, you guys are in an interesting position because you used to look so forward to seasons knowing your team was most likely going to win a Super Bowl. And now it's almost like you dread seasons, but you're the winner. Every offseason, you're going to have a high pick and everybody's going to be talking about what are the Patriots going to do. It's an interesting dichotomy that has happened here with New England Patriots fans for sure. But you guys will be all right. I think that you have a great owner at the very least, and he's going to do everything he can to try to win. So there is that. Ramon became a new member. Appreciate you, Ramon. Samir says, glad I'm finally able to catch a live show. Appreciate you, Samir, as always. And then he gifted 10 subs, man. Shout out to you. Really appreciate you. Big, big time by you. All right. We were just talking about the dichotomy and what it used to be like for New England. And now you're in a very different situation. What is the pulse of this fan base, Colby? I mean, are they excited about this rebuild? Are they disappointed that y'all are going to lose more games than what it's worth? Are they just excited to see Drake May? Like, where is everybody at with this?
Yeah, I feel like there's very few fans amongst Patriots Nation that are unbiased. They understand where we are and they understand that it's a process. You know, me personally, growing up, I was always taught to see both sides of things. I understand that, since I was born in 2001. Since I was born, Tom Brady was here. We were always great. I didn't know what it was like to be a bad team and what this was like to have to go through this process that every other team goes through. But now that I've seen it, I can understand it and say, guys, this is a process. It's going to take time. And even if the Patriots suck the rest of our lives, our team will have been more successful than like 99% of teams in the NFL. And we have to be grateful for that and the position that we are in. But fans are either on one side where they're like, this sucks. Get Gerard Mayo out of here. Like, how are we only winning one game already? Throw Drake May out there. What do we have to lose at this point? And then there's the other side of people saying, basically being a little bit too cautious about things. So the way that I kind of see it is, since Tom Brady left, we're starting to really see who the true fans are amongst Patriots Nation versus who isn't. Who are the Tom Brady fans versus who weren't? I mean, I've been doing this channel since my sophomore year of high school. So I want to say that was like 2017, 2018. I've been doing my channel. And I used to rack in like 20,000 views a video. And that's definitely dropped significantly because the fan base isn't as excited. But again, you have to keep in mind is that this fan base is so young. They're used to winning. They're not used to being in this position. So they're jumping off the bandwagon and going to what they've grown up to know. And that is success. As where here I am trying to hone in this fan base being like, guys, it's a process. Let's take our time. We'll be competitive again. We'll never be what we used to be, but we will be competitive again. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's get into this matchup, Colby. Give me, and I'm sure there's plenty on the Patriots team. I don't know. I mean, I watch enough college football, and I'm a big Ducks fan. So obviously, where the Ducks go, I'm always big into it. So Gonzalez is my guy. Absolutely love him. But there's a lot of new Patriots, and there's a lot of young Patriots. This, like you said, is a building team. So give me some under the radar players that may make a difference this weekend, but also players that you're just excited to watch develop over the course of this year and upcoming years as well.
I can't say there's a lot of them, unfortunately, just because the Patriots. Here's the truth, right? Under Bill Belichick, the Patriots have become one of the least talented rosters in the NFL. Belichick didn't believe in blowing teams out. He believed that he could have close games and that it was all about the X's and O's to coaching and not necessarily the actual talent with your roster. And that's why the Patriots are where they are. That's why they've been taking a step back really since 2021 is because of the lack of talent amongst this roster. But there are a couple of players that I think are already stars. Unfortunately, one of those we're not going to see in this game. We don't know when he's going to be returning. He has blood clots, and that's Christian Barmore. Now, Barmore got one of the biggest contracts we've seen in the NFL from an interior defensive lineman. It was also the biggest contract that a Patriots player got in Patriots franchise history that was not named Tom Brady. So Patriots already kind of resetting records here. We're not going to see him in this game, but last year we saw him break out against the run, against the pass, a dominant interior defensive lineman. That's going to be a guy to watch for the Patriots moving forward. Just unfortunately in this game, he won't be here. Christian Gonzalez, to me, as I'm sure you know, is the guy. I mean, he struggled a little bit last week, but struggled for his standards, not for the actual standards for a defensive back in the NFL. I mean, obviously, he played about 4 games last year in his rookie season before he went down with the season-ending injury. Now we're heading here into week 4, but throughout these games, he's gone up against the best wide receivers in the league every single week. He's gone up against Tyreek Hill, who he held to 0 receptions, 0 yards, and an interception. He went up against, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. You can literally name the top 10 wide receivers, and he's either gone up against them or he's slated to go up against them. Garrett Wilson, he went up against him twice. He's allowed about 2 touchdowns so far in his NFL career, one of which was last week on a 3-yard touchdown, but he has not allowed a single receiver to peak 50 yards or more against him. He has been absolutely dominant. He's not going to be a ball hawk. He's not going to make a lot of necessarily huge plays, but he is going to shut down and take away your number 1 wide receiver. And then really the next guy that I would say would be Keion White. Keion White is absolutely balling out for the Patriots. He's top 5 in sacks right now. He did get a little bit banged up against the Jets last week. He was he was second in sacks rather. Week 1 of the NFL, week 2, and then heading into week 3, he was also tied. He's just been balling out. I mean, against the run, in terms of getting to the quarterback. In fact, see if I still have this statistic up here. I'm actually not sure where I put it, but he's only one of, I think, 5 defenders, this statistic was, that has a 20% pass rush win rate or more in every single game so far this season. So he's been balling out. He also has over a 90 overall PFF grade throughout the first 3 weeks. I think that ranks like 4th among defensive players in the NFL right now at the edge defender position. So he's balling out. He looks really good for New England, playing on the edge, playing in the interior. And then offensively, there's not a whole lot of guys. Demario Douglas, I would say, is one. But he isn't a wide receiver 1. He's really more of a wide receiver 3 at best, I would say. But in the slot, a guy you can play on the outside, really, really shifty, really elusive, really fast. He's like 5'8", so it's hard to get your hands on him. And when the Patriots are able to actually get the passing game going and actually have an offensive line that can get him the ball with Demario Douglas, he makes a lot of plays and has quickly become a fan favorite. And then just Ramondre Stevenson. Obviously, that's the big one. They gave him a big contract extension this offseason. Before that Jets game where they just decided, hey, we're not going to run the ball, he was top 5 in rushing yards. He's as dominant as ever. And those are really the only players for the Patriots that I would say are dogs that you really have to watch out for.
Well, all I could hear is when you were talking about Christian Gonzalez is that 49er fans are going to continue to be pissed at Brandon Ayuk for getting a big payday and not quote unquote producing. It sounds like Christian Gonzalez is going to probably hold them to 0 touchdowns and under 50 yards if they match up all day long. And 49er fans, get ready for people to be really, really pissed off at Brandon Ayuk. Hopefully the 49ers win, and that'll take a little bit of the sting off. What about Javon Baker? I know that he's pushed down the depth chart a little bit, but for where he was drafted, I thought he was a steal in the draft. Now, a little bit of some weird character things kind of popped up a couple weeks ago, but overall, how's he developing, and what are your thoughts of Javon Baker?
Yeah, dude, I love Javon Baker coming out of the draft. You know, he was actually one of the players I wanted the Patriots to target along with Jalen Polk, and they took both of them. I thought that
both of them, yeah.
after they drafted Jalen Polk, I was like, okay, well, they're not going after Javon Baker because they can play in very similar roles. Next day, they go and they get Javon Baker, and I was like, you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine doubling down here because of how much of a dog that this guy is. He pops off during the Patriots training camp. He's like the number one target for them. He's making these highlight reels, gets to the preseason, does nothing. Does absolutely nothing. And he has two rookie moments. One rookie moment is it was in the preseason. Drake May gives him a beautiful deep ball down the field, perfectly placed ball. But Javon Baker's too worried about where the ball is in the air to worry about his situational awareness. He runs half his route out of bounds and then catches the ball, realizes he's out of bounds, and then drops it because he knows that if he catches the ball out of bounds, it's going to be a penalty on the offense. Later on in that same game, Drake May threads the needle, beautiful pass down the field for another opportunity to Javon Baker, extends, has it, and then can't survive the ground. Ball pops in the air. It's like, these are the plays that you're supposed to make. They got rid of Devontae Parker for Jalen Polk. Or excuse me, not Jalen Polk, but Javon Baker, rather, right? Javon Baker is expected to be what N'Keal Harry was supposed to be for this team, what Devontae Parker was supposed to be, and that's that contested catch guy down the field that can make those 50-50 grabs. And when the Patriots drafted him, he knew that he should have been drafted earlier. He felt that disrespect. In fact, one of the best quotes I think I've ever heard coming out of a guy drafted by the Patriots, he goes, you know, grab your popcorn because I'm going to make people in wheelchairs stand up. And everybody was like freaking out. They're like, yo, if Bill Belichick was still here, there's no way that Javon Baker would still be on this team. But ends up popping out during training camp, doesn't do anything during the preseason, and then hasn't done anything during the regular season. There was that one quote when he said that the Patriots organization was a little bit like, okay, like let's calm down a little bit. And then unfortunately, a few weeks ago, he was speeding. He got pulled over by a cop, goes on like Instagram Live and starts spewing it out and hating and doing all these things that you're not supposed to do as a professional NFL player. And so Gerard Mayo kind of had to sit him down and said that he was going to be giving him some type of discipline. Like you said, some character concerns that we just didn't hear about at all going into the draft and coming out of the draft. So it's kind of taken everybody by storm.
Yeah, where he was drafted, I mean, it's really a no-lose situation. I thought he was a second-round talent. Absolutely loved him. We'll see what happens with his career, but it does seem like they've kind of put him in a bit of a doghouse, deservedly so, with what's happened with him. But I think if he can get his head together, he's a really, really talented player. I'm excited to see what his career looks like. All right, give me let's start with the positive here for the Patriots. Give me some advantages you believe that they have in this game against the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, one of them I would say is definitely that pass rush. Now, unfortunately, the way that they're designing some of these plays defensively, sending out all-out blitzes in like the worst moments against the Seahawks, it was a 3rd and 6, and they sent out an all-out blitz when they already took away the running game. Like there was no sense in doing it. Sometimes the Patriots defense kind of beats itself there. But overall, I think that pass rush is very good. Who is it? Josh Uche on the opposite side of Keon White is also one of the top pass rush win rates so far in the NFL too. Both of those guys are really good in terms of getting to the quarterback. So I do feel confident in the Patriots' ability there with their front in order to apply pressure on Brock Purdy. Obviously, Trent Williams is a dog. I do have some question marks about the 49ers offensive line kind of outside of Trent Williams.
Trent Williams might not play. Trent Williams might not play.
That's even bigger.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too, is that the Patriots have 2 edge defenders in Dietrich Wise and Keon White, who are not just pure edge defenders. The Patriots like to find their mismatches, and they can play them on the edge. They'll play them in the interior of the defensive line, and this feels like a game where if there's going to be these disadvantages, like you're saying, especially if Trent's out of the game, then that's something I think the Patriots can take advantage of. Obviously, their ability to run the ball. The Patriots have a bad offensive line, but they're still running the ball very efficiently and effectively when they actually decide that they run the ball. Week 1, Ramondre Stevenson had 120 rushing yards all by himself. Get this, 119 of those 120 rushing yards came after contact. which is absolutely absurd. This Patriots offensive line isn't doing their job in the slightest. And this running game is still finding a way to get going when the Patriots offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt, is actually deciding that he is going to run the ball there. And then defensively, outside of that pass rush, I would just say Christian Gonzalez, just Christian Gonzalez, his ability to take away a number one wide receiver, to me, as long as there isn't miscommunications defensively, I feel confident that he'll hold Brandon Ayuk to 40 yards max.
Yeah, looking at it, the 49ers have really struggled to stop the run, man. They have. And so I think that that's certainly an advantage. And then, you said Barmar is not playing. Obviously, he's got the blood clots. But God, first of all, what a defensive line when he is back. That's a young, really, really good defensive line. That's something I'd be very excited about as a Patriots fan. But overall, yeah, if Trent Williams doesn't play, it becomes a major issue. And then you guys defensively are also really good at stopping the run. And that's somewhere that the 49ers are always trying to establish is the run. So it becomes a really interesting game. Now, you guys can be passed on for sure. And I think that Brock Purdy's played extremely well. So I would expect that he's able to do so again. But it is going to be something that traditionally is outside of the 49ers comfort zone. They would love to run the ball 30, 35, even 40 times if they can. I don't think this is the week to do it, which means once again, Brock Purdy, much like last week, is going to have to carry this offense. And so that's not something the 49ers would prefer to do. It is something they can do, but there's certainly some advantages there. And then, if you guys can control the clock and run the ball, it makes it really, really hard to run up scores. So the 49ers got to be ready for this one for sure. Give me a couple spots that you're worried about, Colby. Like just some spots where you're like, man, I don't like these matchups for my Patriots.
Yeah, and even like you said about that Patriots run defense, they were the second best run defense in the NFL last year. And then going into week 3 against the Jets, they were yet again the second best run defense in the NFL. Now, they did get ran on a little bit with Braylon Allen and Breece Hall. And that's why I didn't know if I wanted to include the Patriots run defense as a positive or not, because I still need to see how they're going to respond because they have a lot of injuries, unfortunately. They lost their starting linebacker, who is a captain, with Jawan Bentley. He's out for the season. The last 4 seasons, he's put up 100-plus tackles, was a major part in getting this defense lined up correctly, major part in their run defense. And ironically, the one game we saw after they lost him, the Patriots had issues stopping the run. So was Jawan Bentley a big part of that? Are they going to be able to do it without him? I think we're going to see this in the upcoming matchup. But I would say the biggest issue with the Patriots, their biggest weakness that the 49ers 100% are going to take advantage of is a historically bad offensive line that the Patriots have. If they keep trending this way, this will be one of the worst pass blocking offensive lines that we have seen in NFL history. Week 1, this Patriots O-line allowed a pressure rate of 44%. Week 2, they allowed a pressure rate of 50%. You could literally flip a coin. And then last week against the Jets, I saw anywhere from 56% all the way up to, according to Next Gen Stats, a 62.8 pass rush rate allowed. Absolutely absurd. You're never going to find ways to be successful. And everybody's trying to say it's Jacoby Brissett's fault. It's not. He gets the snap. He has 2 defenders in his face. David Andrews and this offensive line, they're not getting the combinations correctly. They're not passing these blocks off correctly. They're not diagnosing the defensive alignments that are in front of them too, and kind of reverting that back to the quarterback. And so sometimes we see multiple defenders shooting the gap, coming at Jacoby Brissett completely unblessed. I think that this is going to be a big Bosa game. Like, there's no reason he shouldn't come out with 3-4 sacks. I think there is a way for the Patriots to diminish him a little bit between, utilizing an extra offensive lineman or utilizing Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper in order to stop him a little bit. They haven't done that so far through 3 weeks. So I can't say that they're going to do it now heading into week 4. To make the Patriots offensive line situation worse, their best overall offensive lineman, Michael Jordan, in the interior of that O-line, he's out in this game. Not to mention the fact that their starting left tackle, Vidarian Lowe, he's also going to be out in this game. That's the second week he's going to be out. This is going to be the 4th week in a row that the Patriots are having a different offensive line combination. And I'm sure, as you know, if you can take advantage of a bad offensive line, then you're going to be able to really diminish pretty much anything that opposing offenses are going to be able to do. I mean, teams are blitzing the Patriots. Their highest blitz rate that they've had all season long. Because again, when you blitz the Patriots, they're getting no pressure. Or so now they're not getting no pressure, but they're not getting any product. They're not producing by any stretch of the imagination. So I think you guys are going to look back on the season and say, how much did we blitz this season? What games did we blitz the most versus the least? And the Patriots are probably going to be the game that you guys ended up blitzing the most. I would definitely say that kind of goes into my next biggest concern, and that's the Patriots passing game. They are one of the worst overall passing attacks in the entire National Football League. Their leading receiver right now is Hunter Henry, who went for over 100 yards in week 2. That was a career game for him, but their leading receiver so far in terms of wide receivers through 3 weeks is Demario Douglas, who has just shy of 70 total yards. They are getting nothing going. The only reason that the Patriots are putting points up on the board is because of their ability to run the ball.
Well, you should be listening very close, 49er fans, because if the 49ers cannot turn it around this week and where they are struggling, then it may not happen. So right now, Colby, get this. The 49ers are dead last in blitz percentage. It's 6.5%. And they are 31st in the NFL in yards per completion at 12.6 yards per completion defensively. So 2 major weaknesses for this defense. And to boot, Javon Hargrave is now out for the season, it sounds like. So the 49ers, if they can't muster up pressure this week, I don't know, y'all. I mean, this is it. Like, they got to figure it out. If there's a get right game, this is it, just based off of matchups, injuries, what have you. So pay very close attention to that. All right, let me get to a couple of these supers. Brother Bob says, Pats suck so bad that this is our get right game, or else. All right, yep, you agree, Brother Bob. You agree.
Literally, it is. And that's exactly what I told Jets fans too. I said, use this as your get right game, like to get yourself back on track. The Patriots are going to be the team that you want to kind of just blow out of the park in order to get your team right. And I think this is a game the 49ers definitely could use as exactly that.
Samir says, hey, Colby, can you name one overrated Niner and one underrated Niner? It's interesting.
Overrated. Oh, that's a good question.
I like it.
I feel like there's a lot of really underrated San Francisco 49ers players. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I really like watching the 49ers play. Obviously, I'm a Patriots fan, but because we haven't been competitive in a long time, I've been rooting for y'all to win the Super Bowl like every single year since like 2020, and you guys just haven't done it yet. And I'm like, dear God, like I'm upset for you guys. Like, you guys have dogs all over this team that I want to see get a Super Bowl. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle's my favorite tight end since Rob Gronkowski. Like, I want to see y'all go ahead and actually punch one in. But I would say my most underrated San Francisco. This one's easy. Juwan Jennings. I'm a massive Juwan Jennings fan. I wanted the Patriots to target Juwan Jennings in free agency. I've been wanting him on the Patriots. They didn't do it. It's just like when I wanted Kendrick Bourne on the Patriots. I asked the Patriots to do that for 2 years, and then they finally did. Without a doubt, my underrated player for the Niners is going to be Juwan Jennings. And my overrated player, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. I really don't think I have an overrated San Francisco 49ers player. Like, to me, there are a lot of overrated players. There are players that the fan base makes overrated. I don't think that there's a single player off the top of my head for the 49ers that is overrated by media or by the fan base. Y'all have dogs who are humble and they produce.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an argument to be made for a few players this year, but it's such a small sample size, and we're still so
Brandon
early.
Ayuk right now, but like,
he'll
get back on track.
Yeah, that's kind of the point. Brother Bob says, Colby, breathe, bro. Y'all losing no matter what. Wait. Yeah, see, he caught himself. Hold on, buddy. He caught himself because that was supposed to be last week as well, and that didn't happen.
Y'all, were y'all confident you were losing last week or winning last week?
Oh, we thought we were gonna win, man. And gosh, dude.
Now, y'all will win this game, man. Let me tell you, when the schedule came out, there's always one game that I circle and say, this is the game that, without a doubt, you look at it, you first glance, you know you're losing. It was the 49ers. First one. First one, dude.
Well, I know that you're going to pick the 49ers, it sounds like, but before we get there, if somehow the Patriots won this game and you look back on Monday morning What is the one thing you think the Patriots did in order to get that win taken away from the 49ers?
Yeah, first off, I would say preparation, right? When the Patriots had time to prepare, they've looked like a very good team. I think a big reason why they lost to the Jets last week was because they played on a short week. They also had to travel and then play an in-division rival with the New York Jets at MetLife for their home opener. I think that was a very, very hard thing for the team to do. The Patriots here, a slight bye week, dare I say, like a very, very minimal bye week, because they went from playing Thursday night football to now they're playing a Sunday football game here in week 4 for a 4 o'clock slate. So they have a little bit of extra time to prepare. And I think that that's something that could keep this game maybe a little bit closer than some people are expecting. And if the Patriots do win, I think that preparation and execution was a big reason on why they did that. I also think that they were able to cut down on shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, a lot of penalties on the offensive line last week at the most inopportune times. The last couple of weeks, not taking timeouts when maybe you necessarily should have taken advantage of all of your opportunities to put points up on the board and get the ball back and just, again, have more opportunities offensively. So I think that if they're able to crunch down on those, that's how the Patriots win. But most importantly, it's trying to find a way to make this 49ers offense one-dimensional. You guys are running the ball very well. You guys have dogs all over the receiving game. It sounds like this is the healthiest that we've seen the 49ers potentially since week 1. It sounds like, you might get Deebo Samuel back. It sounds like George Kittle should be good to play this game. It sounds like Brock Purdy should be good to play this game. What the Patriots have to do is they can't let the 49ers offense be multi-dimensional, because that takes away their defensive packages and what they're able to do. If they're able to take away the pass game, they can focus specifically on the rushing attack. Or they can specifically take away the running game and then just focus on taking away, George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, and put more of an emphasis, an extra defensive back on the field to try to take away this passing game. Last week against the Jets, they didn't do either. They allowed them to be multidimensional, and they allowed them to consistently pick up at minimum like 5 yards on the ground or 5 yards through the air, and that's what killed the Patriots. And I also think that, like you said earlier, offensively, not turning the ball over in any way, shape, or form. The Patriots' margin for error is extremely, extremely small because of how bad that offense is. Playing a solid game on special teams, but dominating time of possession. When the Patriots win games, it's because they dominate time of possession. And last week against the Jets, big reason they got blown out is because the Jets outscored or really outdominated the Patriots. Patriots' time of possession was about 19 minutes. The Jets was 40 minutes. 40 minutes. That is why the Patriots lost that game. Exactly.
Yeah, I think, for the 49ers, the one thing they must do is just assert their dominance. They cannot let the Patriots hang around. I mean, this is what happened last week. They jumped up 14-0. They had a chance to go up 21-0 and really put that game away. They were unable to do so. And then the Rams just hung around and hung around and hung around until finally 49ers made a mistake on a couple drives and special teams, and then that was it. The Rams came back. They sealed the victory. You cannot let the Patriots hang around. When you have a team that you are superior than, you cannot let them hang in, because if you let them hang in, they get some confidence. Football's a really weird sport, man. The ball bounces one way, and then that's it. The game changes. So 49ers just have to assert their dominance and make sure that they hold that lead all the way through. There's no reason for them to let a Patriots team hang around, in my opinion. Brother Bob says, Colby, let me help you. Kyle Levy is the most overrated. Some of these guys really hate Kyle Shanahan, man. They're just not fans of him.
Really?
Bacon, yeah, they're not, I go back and forth on it. I like Kyle a lot, and I know he's a really good coach, but I do think there is some overratedness to him. The national media loves him. A lot of them will even say he's better than Andy Reid, which is absolutely crazy to me. So, he's good, but also a bit overrated, I think. Most national media would have him 1 or 2.
See, I really like Kyle Shanahan. I like him as a person. I like him as a coach. I think that you can do a lot worse than Kyle Shanahan. I feel like my question for the 49ers is, Is your kryptonite in the Super Bowl Kyle Shanahan, or is your kryptonite in the Super Bowl just playing the Chiefs? You know what I'm saying? Because every time you get to the Super Bowl, you play the Chiefs, and every team just has that one team that they can never, ever seem to kind of just stretch it out against. But obviously that narrative is there. That narrative was there for Shanahan before he was even the Niners head coach, right? Is that when you get a massive lead, for some reason, he can't put that game away. And I think that we're looking at Shanahan could go down as one of the top head coaches of all time, but he has to be able to beat this narrative and actually win Super Bowls, because you'll never go down as being one of the greatest of all time if you can't actually win Super Bowls, as we've seen. The Niners get this close every single year to being able to go. They just kind of need to be able to get over that hump, and Shanahan needs to beat that narrative if I think the 49ers are going to consistently get back to the bowl on a year-to-year basis.
Well, and opened up old wounds last week. They had a 10-point lead again in the fourth quarter and blew it. So there you go. Bacon and eggs, breakfast croissant says, Jesse, how do you feel about the Ayuk short skate? Has he gone TO on us? Did you see this, Colby? It's gone viral. Brandon Ayuk in practice was wearing red shorts. They were supposed to be wearing black shorts. Kyle Shanahan got on him. He kind of threw a little bit of a fit. It was strange.
All over social media.
I've got a video on it. I gave my opinion. I've defended Brandon Ayuk all offseason. I'm pro player getting their money and everything that went into it. I had zero issues with it. And even the first 3 weeks of the season, he can't throw himself the ball and he can't scheme the ball to himself, but he's getting separation. I've really stood up for Brandon Ayuk, but in that scenario, I'm team Kyle Shanahan. Kyle's got to do what's right for the team, and he's got to hold every player accountable. Little things like that, if you let them slip, can really snowball and become issues. So as a leader, I like what Kyle Shanahan did there in enforcing the black shorts. I think it was the right thing to do. It was weird. The whole thing was weird.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Thank you for not trading Brandon Ayuk to us, because although we knew the wide receiver one, we were about to give you guys a haul. We were about to give you back Kendrick Bourne, who I think is a very high-end number 2 wide receiver who has one of the best mentalities in football on and off the field in the entire NFL. Like, I think Kendrick Bourne is one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. Maybe a little biased there, but I absolutely love KB. And it just feels like Brandon Ayuk, everywhere we go, it's just every other week there's a new storyline coming out about how he's a diva, and you don't want that in your locker room. One thing I will say is just like kind of look at the Bills. They got rid of Stephon Diggs. Everybody thought that they would suck, but they were able to get themselves in a better mentality on and off the field, and it made a massive, massive difference for that team to actually be more successful without Stephon Diggs.
It's interesting because sometimes this happens with players, and I don't know that Ayuk is headed this way, but a great example of that is AB with Pittsburgh. He was always a great citizen, and then as soon as he got paid, he completely flipped the script. One of the best receivers of all time, probably in my opinion, was going to go down as the second greatest of all time if he had just stayed the course, but he lost his ish a little bit. Brandon Ayuk has been anything but a malcontent. He has really done what has been expected of him. He was in the doghouse early in his career. He fought his way out. He's been a great teammate, a good blocker, a leader on this team and this organization. And now all of a sudden that he's gotten paid, things are going really weird. I don't like the way that it's headed. Hopefully he can get it back together and they can figure this thing out. But as of right now, man, this whole situation has taken a weird turn for sure. Samir says, please don't pick the Niners to win. All of you, shucks, we love the Niners content creators, are total jinxes. Yeah, man. Every single week, the opposing content creators pick the 49ers, and right now we're 1-2. So I do feel like it's a bit of a jinx. Samir says, BB, I know that you, who's your overrated coach, but who's the player? And then he answers, Samir, nope. As soon as I hear overrated, it's Kyle Levy, period. All right. Well, listen, they don't want to hear it, but it sounds like you're going to go that way regardless. Give me the score of this game and who comes away with the victory, Colby.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what the overall game day actives and inactives are, who's officially going to be playing for the Patriots and who's officially going to be playing for the Niners. What we've seen in the past is that when teams have played the Patriots, they would have those players who maybe were a game time decision, maybe dealing with an injury. Those guys would still play because you needed all of your guys to play as a unit in order to beat the Patriots. It's not the same instance anymore. In fact, we're seeing the opposite. So far this season, when opposing teams have a key injury, they're saying, it's just the Patriots. Don't play. We don't need you. We'll be fine. Like, just get rest. We have bigger games coming down the line. So I'll be really curious to see what the 49ers end up doing with some of these key players. But either way, even if you don't play Deebo Samuel, Trent Brown, George Kittle, obviously Javon Hargrave out for the season, you're still a significantly more talented team than the Patriots are, even if we're healthy and you're not, which we're not healthy also. So that kind of kills us. But I'm going 20-10 49ers. I'm expecting the Patriots defense to be at least a little bit better. I think it'll be a little bit of a closer game than it was last week against the Jets. I feel like in-division games are always trap games. The Patriots have a little bit of extra time to prepare for this game, implement what they want to do, and get ready. And hopefully that's going to show. But I don't see anything about this team that I can pick them to win.
Oh, man. Well, I said last week, playing an injured Rams team, yes, the 49ers were banged up as well, but the Rams were much more banged up, that a team with Super Bowl aspirations cannot lose that game. Well, the 49ers lost that game. So now on a panic meter of 1 to 10, I'm at about a 6. If the 49ers don't win this game, I'm at a 12 on a 10. I'll let you know right now. 1-3, 2 losses that you absolutely cannot have. The Minnesota loss doesn't look bad at all right now. Minnesota looks like a very formidable foe, but losing to the Rams and then losing to the Patriots would be an absolute disaster. So this score prediction is more so about me challenging the San Francisco 49ers that if you are who you say you are, Deebo Samuel 2 weeks ago comes out and says this has been the best team in the league for 6 years. You don't have a Super Bowl ring. This week, Diamador Lenore talked a lot of trash about that Rams loss. Oh, even a garbage can finds a steak every once in a while. Listen, if you guys are who you say you are, then this game is not only a win, but it's a blowout. So 30-13, anything less, and I'm disappointed. 49ers have to go out, insert their dominance, show that they are still that team, the bully on the block, and it has to start this week, period. You cannot win barely. You cannot lose. 30-13 has to be the score. Anything worse than that, and like I said, I'm not happy about it. That's the score that I'll give you today.
Respect. I hope you guys do get right too. I really do, for your sake, because nobody wants to see the Chiefs three-peat. All right, ain't nobody want that.
I'm telling you. Samir says Trent has a toe injury. Pick the Pats, please. I almost did it just for the sake of like the reverse jinx thing. All right, y'all. Listen, that is the end of the show. We got a couple more days until this game. Make sure you check out Colby's channel, Patriots Global. Link is in the description. I'm going to go on his channel next. We're going to do a little bit of show over there. You can check it out. Is it going to be a pre-record, Colby? Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah, we're going to do a pre-record. Make it easy. Drop it tomorrow for you guys.
There you go. So you can check it out. Make sure you like and subscribe over there as well. Thank you all so much for the support. I will be back after the post-game show come Sunday. Let's go Niners. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.